Hey, what's up, folks, and welcome back to the channel today for a special interview. Today, I get to talk to a model, an influencer, and an actress coming from a film that I checked out last year. We'll talk about in a second because you will get a chance to be able to check it out very soon as of April 19th on video on demand. But I'm here with Lilith Grasmug. How are you doing today?
I'm great. How are you?
Good, good. I know I was kind of short on your accolades and titles, but model, influencer, and actress are ones that we'll kind of touch up on today. But folks, the film Bloody Oranges, which made its world premiere at Cannes, which is just huge in its own. I got to check it out in the North American premiere at Fantastic Fest last of September. But as I said, you all get a chance to check this out video on demand April 19th, and I thoroughly suggest that you do. But I do want to start off by asking, if it's on the internet, that means it's true. Are you actually from Kentucky?
No, not at all. I'm Austrian and Dutch, but I live in Paris and I grew up in Paris, but I'm not American at all.
Okay, I was like, wait, what? Because I was trying to figure out like where was the correlation of you learning French? So could you talk about
Yeah, there
that?
is no correlation because I'm not.
I was like, okay. What part of Australia, by the way?
Sorry?
What part of Australia?
Austria, not
Oh,
Australia.
Austria. Okay, my apologies. So let's get into the film. When did you get the call? How'd you land this role? And what was sort of your, because I have to know, what was your first thought when you looked at the script?
Okay, so I auditioned for the role, and I was shooting another movie, a period piece in Switzerland, when my agent called me and told me about the project. And so she said, okay, there is this crazy thing happening in the middle of the film. There is this microwave scene. So I was, what? That's mad. That's nuts. So I was just, okay, let's read it. And
Yeah.
the particular thing about the script was that there were no dialogues at all, because almost everything is improv in the film. So there were just summaries for each scene. And
Oh.
it wasn't an immediate, oh, I'm gonna do this, because I was pretty afraid about the rape scenes, because I was afraid that people would or could laugh about that scenes, because it's a comedy, a dark comedy,
Yes.
but still a comedy. So there was that question about how people will react to it, and is it possible to laugh about such scenes? And so we had all kind of talks with my agent and the director to make sure that everything was clear about the things, and that we all were in the right state of mind to do the movie.
That's
So, yeah.
that's incredibly responsible because for me, I know upon going into festivals, that's my mindset, is always wondering what's the bigger message at hand here. But yes, when you do label anything as a dark comedy, a lot of folks tend to think that, hey, I'm just going to get a bunch of laughs and be up out of here. But there was a lot of things that this film did that was not traditional at all, which I really loved about your character, Louise, is because most to your point is that the beginning of the movie, we introduced to her, the idea of losing her virginity. We see it from a medical standpoint. We get the conversation from there, then we get the conversation from her peers. So like, that has a different tone, and then some other things happening, connecting it all to the end, which I love the end. I've never stood up and cheered for a character unlike I cheered for your character, because this was the ending I needed. I was kind of over the traditional tropes of these situations and scenes. So I loved how this kind of played out. So that's cool that you were able to kind of, go into the script and provide your own input into it. And I think that's super special. And this is your first feature-length film, correct?
Not really. I was part of another one called Sophia Antipolis, in which I played when I was 17.
Okay.
But then I was in my study period, so I didn't I didn't shoot any movie.
Yeah.
And the strange thing about it is that I shot that period piece before I shot Blood Oranges, and the period piece is still not out in theaters, so it's a bit weird for me to have the whole thing mixed up. But yeah.
Yeah. So the film is going to be available soon. So I'm gonna talk just a little bit of spoilers here. I want to go to the second phase of your character, having the conversations about sex with your peers. Now, I would assume you've had these conversations with your peers in your own personal life or with your parents, but actually to bring that in front of the camera, was it easier? Was it more difficult? Was it awkward at all? Or did you feel even sort of a different responsibility about how that scene was handled now that you previously had already experienced it?
You mean the scene in the bathroom with the friends?
Yes.
Yeah. Actually, in that scene, I don't talk a lot, so it was all about listening to the stories that were coming up, and it was improv as well. So we did shoot for, I think, 5 or 6 hours in that bathroom, and there only remains I think 10 seconds or maybe 15, I don't know. But anyway, no, the whole thing was to have that true relationship and that openness of mind, and the way also the women talk to each other is very open-minded. And yeah, that was the interesting thing about the scene, was that it was a very free conversation.
Yes.
And yeah, I think that's it. And what drew me also to the role was the fact that in the sex scene, there is a switch in the roles, because traditionally the man leads.
Exactly.
And in that scene, she's the one who leads, and I thought it was genius to come up with that kind of idea. And I think we need also other representations of sexuality for young women, and it was a way to come up with that kind of thing. Yeah.
And absolutely spot on. And right, while your character may not have had any verbal dialogue, mannerisms also played a big part, because you can kind of read the room in terms of who's actually taking it serious, who's actually sparking more thoughts beyond it, or who's just enjoying the moment as this some type of comedic moment for everybody, or like a stand-up show and whatnot. So that's why I was asking, like, did you, because I would imagine or could assume that in you having these type of conversations in your personal life, you may have been one of these other characters. I can honestly say for myself, I remember in these situations where I thought it was a big joke, but this was a learning moment. You know what I mean? And if I could do it again, I would have been your character saying, let me listen and understand what everybody's kind of feeling and seeing here. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that when I was in high school, I had also that kind of conversation. And it was really a part of to learn how to have sex with someone. And I think it was very, it's really a part of the coming of age period. Yeah.
Yes,
Sorry,
absolutely.
English is very bad.
No, you're absolutely great. I mean, and you're dropping some gems, which is why I love this film, because the film absolutely has a lot of embedded good messages. And talking about your character, and how she's basically taking control of her sexual empowerment, which is just brilliant storytelling. And the fact that you were able to improv this and kind of steer this the way you wanted to a little bit is dope. It's really dope. Gained so much more appreciation in this film just in this short time in this interview. So it's two things I definitely want to make sure I can touch on really quickly before we have to wrap. The first thing, in working with what was his name, Fred Blinn, and his character, which I don't think we technically got a name for his character, but we're just going to say the worst of the worst.
Yeah.
We'll go with there.
Détraqué in French, which means the madman.
The madman. Okay, yes. For even still lack of better words. again, upon you knowing that you were going to be able to take control of that scene and your character, and also probably with your input as well too. One, how was it working along with him? Because he did a fantastic job. I always say a bad guy or just anybody who's, you know, some type of mirror of a, you know, something in society. The fact that you're able to provoke feelings is an amazing thing. But your character also was able to provoke the opposite feelings in terms of, I didn't feel sympathetic, because this was the moment where I, again, taking control of the situation, not the damsel in distress, not like the pearls, like I need help, going back and taking control of things. But how was it working alongside of him? And ultimately, upon doing this scene, just how were you emotionally feeling at the moment of completion?
It was a very challenging scene, for sure. I felt he's the sweetest person in the world. He really is so lovely, and he's an incredible actor as well. So it really was a sheer pleasure to be around him, and I actually felt very comfortable around him, and there was a big level of trust and support as well. So everything went really fine, and yeah, it felt like we could really rely on each other. So it was very exhausting because I had to cry for 4 hours in a row. But it was, on the other hand, it was very exciting to explore that kind of real breakdowns. And yeah, that revenge was also very interesting because there was a shift in the emotional process of the girl, and so I had to come from the emotional breakdown to that, in a way, I don't know how to say, euphorie, in a way, an enraged feeling of happiness, and of being alive and of taking revenge. And yeah, it was difficult, but he was very supportive. So yeah.
Yes, brilliantly said. And as if that wasn't enough, this absolutely was the icing of the cake for the film for me. The closing moments of this, because now this has been brought to the forefront of, you know, the media and just legal ramifications about the actions that was taking place here. Your character made it very, very clear that she did not want to play the societal ropes and tropes in the courtroom and just going with the flow. Just, you know, she has a lot more a lot more morals to her, and want to live by her code of ethics in terms of telling the truth, exposing exactly what happened. The whole refusal of lie and just wanting to bring out the truth, even though that we both know in the court of justice, especially for women, this is not a strategy that is going to breed success. We see it over and over at times where rape victims actually just ultimately become victims. They're never ever considered survivors as they should. What type of responsibility, what type of emotion, what was going through your head knowing that this was going to close the film? Because this was the most powerful message of the entire film, with an abundance of messages, but this was the one.
I think that I wanted to make clear that Louise embodied, in a way, female power, and that she didn't see herself as an eternal victim. So she is a victim, but she also takes control over her life, and she want to be happy. She want to be really have a successful life, and she wants to go on. So and it's not very clear to the lawyer, but she's very confident, in a way, in what she wants to be. So that was a very powerful message to come up with. And in terms of emotions, it was a very challenging scene because I had to. The director told me to play her in a way, in an autistic way, to be shy, but at the same time also mad in a way, and I had to be very creative in terms of emotions. So at the beginning, I make jokes with the lawyer, and then I laugh, and then I have this breakdown in the center of in the middle of the scene, and then I laugh again. So it was it was a mix of emotions, and it was very hard to play, but yeah, very challenging.
Yeah. Very hard to play, but you damn sure did an amazing job throughout the entire film. You took us you took us on a ride, both in terms of the plot, but in terms of the messages to take from it. I was thoroughly impressed, and I was super excited of the opportunity to be able to talk to you about it. I guess we have to ask for yourself. Did she get the verdict that she wanted? There was a little bit of an eye wink, and it seems to me that she may have handled things the way she wanted to handle. Is there a way of you hinting towards this? Is that true? Is that a true confirmation, or could you, or at least, how about this, so we don't truly get a film away? What do you think happened in the courtroom?
I think they told the truth, but she did win, although that happened, and I think it's a way also to give a feeling of lightness to the end of at the end of the film, and to bring up hope and a form of happiness to that end.
Absolutely. Got the support of her significant other, got the support of other women. So hope is absolutely a brilliant word. And that would have been my guess, is that, there was the battle between what the lawyer wanted to do and what she wanted to do. And I think by that wink of almost betting on yourself and taking control of your own narrative in this case, I think that was a sign of saying that she did it the way she wanted to do it, and she can live with that. And that's important. That's important. So look, our time is coming up. There was something very important in this film that did not really have to do with your character, but I did want to kind of bring it up to see what your thought about it. And it was this quote, and your director even talked about this quote in an interview at an earlier time. And the quote was, "The old world is dying. The new world struggles to be born. Now is the time of monsters." Has anybody read or mentioned that quote to you from this film?
In France, people, journalists at Cannes, in Cannes, asked me about that quote. I think Jean-Christophe, the director, really wanted the film to be a satire in a way, and to talk about the fact that in each of us there is a monster sleeping, and in some cases, or in some very special situations, this monster comes out of us. And I think the title is also a metaphor to this hypocrisy of modern day society, and the fact that on the outside we are pretty sweet and attractive to other people, and in the inside we have that bloody juice that is just waiting to explode. So I think that there is really this idea of reflecting about the false sense of security also.
All right. Well, our time is up. I do want the fans to again be aware that Bloody Oranges is going to be available video on demand April 19th. Do you have any other upcoming projects that we might be able to plug in really quick, or that you can mention?
So Thunder by Carmen Jacquet is the period piece that is going to come out, and I'm about to shoot another movie with Chiara Mastroianni, in August. So
awesome. That is exciting. Well, congratulations thus far, Lilith. It's been a pleasure to talk to you. Folks, check out the film. Be sure to check out her social media. That way you can keep up with all of her new upcoming projects and all sorts of different things. Like I said, she's definitely involved with just beyond just acting. So you can follow her on social media. That way you can keep eyes on that. But it's been a pleasure to talk to you today.
Thank you so much. Bye.
Absolutely. Thank you for tuning in, folks. We'll see you back for more interviews very soon.